मिठाई गो प्रेमानंदी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिके। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Prayers by the Demigods, text number 20. Tam Vikshya Kamsaha Prabhaya Ajita Antaram Tam Vikshakam Saprabhaya Jitantaram Virochayantim Bhavanam Shuchi Smitam Virochayantim Bhavanam Shuchi Smitam Aisha Me Prana Haro Harir Guham Ahaisha Me Prana Haro Harir Guha Vam Shruta Yan Na Pureyam Idrishi Dhruvam Shrito Yan Na Pureyam Idrishi Tam Vikshakam Saprabhaya Jitantaram Virochayantim Bhavanam Shuchismitam Aisha Me Pranaharo Harir Guham Dhruvam Shrito Yanna Pureyamidrishi Tam Vikshakam Saprabhaya Jitantaram Jayantim Bhavanam Shuchismitam Aisha Me Pranaharo Harir Guham Dhruvam Shrito Yanna Pureyamidrishi Vikshakam Saprabhaya Jitantaram Virochayantim Bhavanam Shuchismitam Aisha Me Pranaharo Harir Guha Tvam Shrito Yanna Pureyamidrishi Vikshakam Saprabhaya Jitantaram Virochayantim Bhavanam Shuchismitam Aisha Me Pranaharo Harir Guha Tvam Shrito Yanna Pureyamidrishi Tam Har Devaki Viksha, after seeing Kamsaha, her brother Kamsa, Prabhaya, with the enhancement of her beauty and influence, Ajita Antaram, because of keeping Ajita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu within herself, Virochayanti, illuminating, Bhavanam, the whole atmosphere of the house, Shuchismitam, smiling and brilliant, Aha, said to himself, Eshaha, this Supreme Person, may, my, Pranaharaha, who will kill me, Harihi, Lord Vishnu, Guham, within the womb of Devaki, Dhruvam, certainly, Shritaha, has taken shelter, yet because Na was not, Pura, formerly, Yam, Devaki, Idrishi, like this. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was within her womb, Devaki illuminated the entire atmosphere in the place where she was confined. Seeing her jubilant, pure, and smiling, comes a thought. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who is now within her, will kill me. Devaki has never before looked so brilliant and jubilant. Please repeat this translation after me. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was within her womb, Devaki illuminated the entire atmosphere in the place where she was confined. Seeing her jubilant, pure and smiling, comes a thought. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who is now within her, will kill me. Devaki has never before looked so brilliant and jubilant. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4.7, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. In this age, at the present moment, there are inordinate discrepancies in the discharge of human duties. Human life is meant for God realization, but unfortunately, the materialistic civilization is stressing only the senses of the body, not understanding the living force within the body. As clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita, Dehinosmin yatha dehe. Within the body is the body's proprietor, the living force, which is more important. But human society has become so fallen that instead of understanding the living force within the body, people have become busy with external things. This is a discrepancy in human duties. Therefore, Krishna has taken birth or taken shelter within the womb of the Krishna consciousness movement. Men of Kamsa's class, therefore, are very much afraid and are busy trying to stop this movement, especially in the Western countries. One politician has remarked that the Krishna conscious movement is spreading like an epidemic, and that if not checked immediately, within 10 years, it may capture governmental power. There is, of course, such potency in the Krishna consciousness movement. As stated by authorities, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, 17th chapter, 22nd verse. Kali Kale Namarupe Krishna Avatara. In this age, Krishna has appeared in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The Krishna consciousness movement is spreading like wildfire all over the world, and it will go on doing so. Men who are like Kamsa are very much afraid of the movement's progress and acceptance by the younger generation. But as Krishna could not be killed by Kamsa, this movement cannot be checked by men of Kamsa's class. The movement will go on increasing more and more, provided the leaders of the movement remain firmly Krishna conscious by following the regulative principles and the primary activities of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra regularly. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Today Goswami is describing the Lord's descent into this world. Krishna has incarnated by accepting Vasudeva and Devaki as his parents. Krishna has decided to enter the womb of Devaki. And having entered, Krishna's presence, even though ordinarily cannot be felt, but even Kamsa, who is very, very demoniac, even he could understand that the prophecy which was heard at the time of Devaki's marriage, after which so many different incidents happened, that prophecy is really coming true. Though it seemed like Kamsa was getting control of the situation and he would be able to save himself. But now it seems like the prophecy is really coming true, because even though Devaki was imprisoned and very securely Devaki and Vasudeva were confined to the prison, the first 6 children could not be saved by Devaki or Vasudeva. And the 7th child somehow, Kamsa thought, died within the womb itself, some miscarriage. But the 8th child, as the prophecy had been foretold, now has taken shelter of Devaki's womb. And Devaki is appearing very, very brilliant, jubilant, pure, and smiling. So there is a reason for this. Shukadeva Goswami is saying, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was within her womb, Devaki illuminated the entire atmosphere in the place where she was confined. Why is this happening? Because Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has got his bodily effulgence, which is actually the Brahma Jyoti, the spiritual light, which illuminates the entire spiritual sky, including all the spiritual planets, and also the entire cosmic manifestation, wherever some illumination is seen. Because by nature, this material world is dark as opposed to the spiritual world. Material world is dark by nature. But even in this dark material world, there is some illumination sometimes in some place. And that illumination is only due to the same Brahma Jyoti, the same bodily illumination of the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti kotishvasheshu vasudhadi vibhuti vinnam. Krishna's effulgence, not only in the spiritual world and the spiritual planets, but also in the material world, the sun, particularly the sun planet, so very brilliant, so very illuminating that every universe, which consists of millions and billions and trillions of planets, has got just one sun. Each universe has got just one sun. And that sun planet, even though it is material, and by nature, material world, every planet is dark. But the sun defies all material laws, that the sun is always very, very, very brilliantly, brightly shining. So, whenever the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in the material world, then his bodily effulgence is partially seen at times, depending on the Lord's displaying it. Just like Vaman Dev, when he was born, he appeared like a very bright child, newly born, beautiful, nice child. So at that time, he didn't display his Brahma Jyoti effulgence, because that dazzling light will blind everyone. So for the devotees, the Lord does not display his Brahma Jyoti effulgence, even when he appears in front of the devotee. But when the same Vaman Dev entered the arena of Bali Maharaj's sacrificial arena. Then the Brahmanas and all the people in general who are present in that sacrificial arena, including Bali Maharaj, they could see some brilliant brahmachari has come to this sacrificial arena. So they were trying to figure out who is this personality. Then, for a very brief moment, Vamandev, he displayed his Brahmajyoti effulgence. Immediately, the entire assembly, everybody could understand here is some extraordinary personality. We are unable to recognize who he is. Except one person, Shukracharya, who could recognize this is Vishnu. Only Shukracharya could recognize. Nobody else could recognize who is this brahmachari who is displaying such brilliant effulgence from his body. Now, you should understand one point, that in this material world, depending on the amount of tapasya, depending on the amount of spiritual advancement any human being or devata or residents of the upper planets have done, accordingly they will have different varying degrees of their own bodily effulgence. So just like in the presence of lower beings, the more advanced personalities, when they come in that atmosphere, their bodily effulgence will be defeating the bodily effulgence of the lower personalities. Just like the description is there in the Bhagavatam several places, when in an assembly of sages who are all qualified brahmanas, who are advanced in tapasya, so when they come for the sacrifice, their bodily effulgence will be very, very dazzling. So they sit and perform the sacrifice. But even in their presence, when Lord Brahma comes, then Brahma's bodily effulgence defeats even these Brahmanas' bodily effulgence. Now, where Brahma and all the great sages and the qualified Brahmanas are present, Lord Shiva comes. And Shiva's bodily effulgence defeats even Brahma's bodily effulgence. Into such an assembly where Brahma, Shiva, all the great sages, everybody is present. Lord Vishnu comes. Then Vishnu's effulgence ultimately defeats everybody else's effulgence, bodily effulgence. So, this is the basis of one of the factors by which somebody can recognize here is a very great personality. Now, Shukadeva Goswami, when he entered the assembly of Parikshit Maharaj and all the assembled saintly persons, there were very, very great saintly persons from upper planets, from Brahmaloka even. Rajarshis, Brahmarishis, Devarshis, Arunodayas. These are all personalities who simply by their presence, they can purify any place completely of all reactions, sinful reactions. Such personalities, they were present in that assembly where Parikshit Maharaj had decided to fast and prepare himself for quitting his body in 7 days. So into that assembly, Shukadeva Goswami walks in, surrounded by some urchins, some foolish people, teasing him, laughing at him, because he was walking naked. He was completely indifferent to all social etiquette. And he was completely absorbed within himself in his meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So when he walked into that assembly, he did not display his real effulgence of his body. But there were personalities in that assembly who just by one glance at Shukadeva Goswami immediately recognized, here is a personality who is very, 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 very advanced, the most advanced personality of his time, spiritual personality. And they immediately stood up because others could not make out who is this person. Even the other Brahmanas, even the other saintly persons, with the exception of Parikshit Maharaj, nobody else could recognize other than these very, 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 very advanced personalities from the Brahmaloka. Other than them, nobody else could recognize Shukadeva Goswami. When they stood up, immediately everybody else stood up. Oh, some great personality has come. Padhuta Vesha. Because he didn't care to dress himself properly. He didn't appear to belong to any particular varna or ashrama. And he was welcomed by Parikshit Maharaj. Then after he sat down, everything was perfectly in order in that assembly. So one of the symptoms of a spiritually advanced personality or a pure devotee is the bodily effulgence. Now, when Prabhupada used to visit different centers, different cities, now as soon as he arrives in the airport, and he descends from the plane and comes in the view of the devotees who are performing Sankirtan. Immediately devotees, at least the devotees who are seeing for the first time, they're very anxious and eager to catch a glimpse of who Prabhupada is, because they've heard a lot about Prabhupada before Prabhupada comes to the place. All the devotees who are preaching, they are talking Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. So very great personality. That much the beginners, those who are new devotees, they can very easily understand. So such a great personality is going to arrive in their city or town or whatever place. So they go to the airport to receive Prabhupada, big kirtan. And as soon as Prabhupada comes into the view of the devotees, many of them have said in memories, and it is also recorded in the Leelamrita also, Prabhupada's effulgence is so very bright and brilliant that immediately everybody falls down prostrate and uh, give dandavat obeisances, pay dandavat obeisances to Prabhupada. And roaring kirtan, they receive him. And one devotee was telling in the memories that he had decided he is not going to bow down. Somehow he was not convinced in the beginning. He's a new devotee. So as soon as Prabhupada he saw something happened, straight he paid dandavat obeisances to Prabhupada. That's because he says he saw the brilliant effulgence from Prabhupada's body. Dazzling effulgence. So this is a fact. This is not some sentimental people telling some sentimental experience. No. It's a fact. Simply in proportion to the spiritual advancement, there is a bodily luster that is naturally there in a pure soul. So the pure devotee displays most dazzling effulgence if he chooses to, when he does not withhold his bodily effulgence, then his effulgence defeats the effulgence of Brahma, Shiva, all the Brahmaloka residents, everybody's effulgence. So, the point is, Krishna is within the womb of Devaki, and Krishna is not displaying his full effulgence. It's impossible for anybody to see anything if Krishna displays full effulgence. So he's displaying very, 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 very little of his effulgence, and that itself is illuminating the entire place where Devaki was confined. Not only that, Devaki herself appeared pure and smiling and jubilant, and Kamsa could immediately understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who is now within her, as the prophecy was foretold, will kill me. Now he has appeared. Why? Because Devaki has never before looked so brilliant and jubilant. See, Devaki herself is a pure devotee. So she will naturally have some brilliance, some bodily effulgence. But when the Supreme Lord has entered, much more effulgence will be seen in Devaki's body itself, because the Supreme Lord has entered her body. So that's the point here. So Kamsa could understand Vishnu is here now in Devaki's womb, appeared as the eighth child, going to appear as the eighth child. Now Prabhupada says something very, very significant, that the Lord has declared in the Bhagavad Gita, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice and a rise of irreligion, I descend myself. So now the present situation in the material world is, people have become very, very fallen. By what symptom is Prabhupada saying this? That instead of understanding the living force within the body, people have become busy with external things. When Prabhupada says people have become busy with external things, it's almost the entirety of the whole population, even the so-called educated, learned, civilized, materially advanced people, intellectuals, philosophers, educationists, everybody included, they are completely ignorant about the living force within the body. Their position is that of the animals. This is very, very shocking, extremely shocking for Prabhupada. What is the condition of the society today? The total ignorance about spirit soul, living force within the body. Total ignorance. And even India has become degraded because in this country, just about 100 years back, during Prabhupada's time, now it is like 150 years back, you can say. Just 150 years back, the culture and the civilization, spiritual culture, was so very nice that even the most illiterate farmer or laborer in the remotest part of this country knew that I am not this body, I am spirit soul. There is life after death. I am accountable for my actions. Any person, every person knew this. And such a country today, so many so-called literate, educated, advanced, materially advanced, so-called civilized people have become, like the rest of the world, they have become very degraded. And they are not at all having knowledge of the spirit soul, living force. So, by this token, it can be said that there are discrepancies in the discharge of human duties and human life, which is exclusively meant for God realization, is being misused by the vast majority of the entire population of this world, human population, simply in sense gratification, soul killing civilization. This is what Prabhupada described one place. Soul killing civilization. Atmaha. That's a description in the Bhagavatam also, 11th canto. So, Krishna has now appeared in two forms. One is Krishna has appeared as the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Kalikale Namarupe Krishna Avatar. And another form in which Krishna has appeared is that he has taken birth or taken shelter within the womb of the Krishna consciousness movement. Many times Prabhupada said this, and he says this on this purport. And men of Kamsa's class are very much afraid of this movement. Just like Kamsa could make out, Krishna has appeared within the womb of Devaki. Exactly like that, men of Kamsa's class, even in this modern age, they can make out this Krishna conscious movement is no ordinary movement. So Prabhupada even quotes one politician who remarked that this Krishna conscious movement is spreading like an epidemic. Especially when Prabhupada was present, that Sometime in 1965, September, Prabhupada reached America with great difficulty. And then for 1 year, apparently nothing was happening. But Prabhupada was sowing the seed of the Krishna consciousness movement in that 1 year. And then the International Society of Krishna for Krishna Consciousness registered 1966, sometime in July. And then very quickly the movement started spreading all over the world. All over the world. And tens of thousands of missionary devotees and millions of followers very quickly, within after establishing 11 short years, 108 temples, 10,000 disciples, and millions of followers everywhere. And that was definitely noted by men of Kamsa's class, that this movement is spreading like epidemic or wildfire. And if not checked, then they may even capture governmental power within the next 10 years. This is one politician's remark. And Prabhupada says, there is, of course, such potency in the Krishna consciousness movement. There is potency. And for that, he does not say any condition. He says there is potency in the Krishna consciousness. But when it comes to the statement here, the movement will go on increasing more and more, provided, he puts a clause there, a condition. The leaders of the movement remain firmly Krishna conscious. How? By following the regulative principles and the primary activities of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra regularly. That means absolutely essential for the leaders to ensure that in every center, at least, there is regular chanting of Hare Krishna mantra in the form of japa and sankirtana, and the four regulative principles are strictly being followed in every center. If this much is done, definitely the movement will go on increasing more and more. There's no doubt about it. There should be no doubt about it. So that is the conclusion of this particular purport, that we can expect the movement will spread everywhere very fast, provided we do just chanting Hare Krishna regularly in form of Sankirtana and Japa, and we follow four regulative principles, which is very, very simple and straightforward. There is no big philosophy that we have to understand, or no complicated process or procedure the Prabhupada has given. So simple it is. God, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's gift to the entire world. But Prabhupada has given it a practical shape in the form of this Krishna consciousness movement, that definitely it will go on increasing. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prophecy that every town and village, the chanting of the holy name will be preached and followed. And very soon that will happen. We'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.